All right, peace, peace, peace. What up? First and foremost, hopefully the Most High in your house shall is blessing your day. By His mercies, we are consumed. We're alive in the Most High in your house shall's body, and two, we're naturally alive, man. And I want to get into this, man. Honestly, man, because yeah, man, because I actually thought about this the other day, man. Like, how also too, man. Let's go to John chapter 1 real quick, man, because it's also talking about the honestly, man, how about being a son of the Most High, son and daughter of the Most High house, man. How to be. Let's get to John chapter 1 verse 20 John chapter 1 verse 12. It says, "But as many as received him, he gave them power to be sons of Yahweh, or sons of Most High, sons of God, even to them that believe on his name." And his name is, of course, Exodus 34 and 6, Jeremiah 9:24. Numbers 14 and 18, man. In other places in Psalms, he declares his name. But honestly, man, but our part of that, honestly, that's why, let's go to Luke real quick, man, because honestly, like that covetousness, that coveting, they can whatever cover, man. It doesn't always have to be something sexual. It's just inwardly coveting something, things that's something that somebody else has, or like covering things of the world, thus the lust of the eyes, because coveting that, man. You could you could lose you could lose that opportunity to be son of the Most High house, sons of God, man. So we're gonna get into that, man, because honestly, and we're gonna see this in the example, in the law, even in the beginning with Reuben. But honestly, let me just put a disclaimer, because even though it was always meant for Judah, because Judah, the Yahushua came out of the line of Judah, but we just we're just gonna look at it just as an aspect of after going after coveting or after your own will or lusting, that can cost you being the firstborn. Not only just for that, just like the firstborn, which is like the kingdom, the inward kingdom, and the physical kingdom, man, which is the Most High's kingdom, even after Yahushua's kingdom, man, because taking you back to the place of pleasure, the Garden of Eden, man, because yeah, man. So let's grab that real quick, man, because let's get Luke chapter 12 real quick. Yeah, man, Luke chapter 12 verse 15, man. It says, yep. I'm in Mark 12. Luke chapter 12 verse 15. It says, and he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life does not not in the abundance of the things that which he possesses. It's crazy, because I was just watching the reel of DMX's Tashira ex-wife, and actually Tashira Hicks, the actress from Bronx Tale Belly, about they was talking about DMX and their his legacy, their interactions with him, of course, especially his ex-wife. Of course, she knew him all her life, pretty much. But it's just crazy that's come to my mind. But DMX, one of his first actually appearances was on LL Cool J's 4321 song, but in the song he says, "Do you value life more? Do you value life more than your possessions, man?" So, I think about when he says, when I listen to that song, every time I think about this verse, Luke chapter 20, Luke chapter 12 verse 15, because I'm just we're talking deeply this more on the even natural tip of your physical possessions, man, but even inwardly, but even on that tip, man, you gotta beware of that as well. Let's grab Luke chapter 12 verse 15. It says, and he said unto him, take heed, beware of covetousness, for a man's life consists not in the abundance of the things which he possesses. Speaking of that too, I remember we talked about it before. I think we talked about, we did a video on the last year, man. That's why I remember watching him a DMX clip on DMX interview on the Breakfast Club, man. He said, yo, man, the worst thing, that's why it says life and death is in the power of the tongue, or Sirach even goes into Ecclesiastes, even goes into it's better than just you slip on the pavement than just slip with the tongue, man. He said, man, he was pretty much talking in an interview saying somebody he didn't get along with. He said, man, I call that person a bum. He said, man, I instantly regretted it, man. That was the worst thing I could ever say, man. Because when I called him a bum, I'm pretty much saying, like, who you are is based off of what you have, like, and he said, man, he was even, he had a bunch of indignation for himself in what he said, man, because he said, man, I have no right to do that, man. Honestly, man, that's why I don't even call people like bums, man. I actually know somebody, like, I ain't gonna really go into it, but she called herself a bum. I'm like, listen, no, you're far from that, like, because that, like, like what how should I say, your life is not, like, depend on, it's not, like, of what you possess, man, honestly, like, so I'm really gonna read this again, man, honestly, man. So it says, and Luke chapter 12 verse 15, it says, and he said unto him, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consists not in abundance of things which he possesses. Exactly, man. So yeah, man, but beware of covetousness, man. Even possessions, even things on physically, natural, but inwardly, man. But it's really still, that's even still, it all starts with inwardly, man. Even this, like, it all starts with inwardly. I was talking about that yesterday with my brother, man. Like, actually, like, what Cain and Abel in the beginning, man. That was always in Cain to do it. That's why it says that in the law and in the gospel, man. Even in First John it says, who hates his brother is a murderer, because, like, pretty much you, like, not everybody, like, most will eventually act on it, but not everybody, even if you don't even act on it, still, like, you hate them in your heart, yeah, you're a murderer. So and like, Most High Yahushua made man in his image, so that means you hate the Most High Yahushua, man. That's why if you hate your brother, you can't love the Most High Yahushua, man. But that, or even your people, man, honestly, like, because what we read yesterday in Tobit, but yeah, man, honestly, yeah, let's grab that. Let's grab let's go over to Genesis real quick, 35. Yeah, man, because this all, like, his lust and covetousness, man. He lost his birth, like, we see this with Reuben, like, he lost his birth, even though it was always going to go to Judah. And disclaimer, most of y'all brothers and sisters know that, but I'm saying, like, we just getting on topic since we talking about it. We're gonna you can cover anything inwardly, man. So yeah, man. Yeah, Genesis chapter 4 and verse 22, man, because Reuben was the firstborn, man. So just like you said, like, that covetousness can cost you being the son and daughter of the Most High Yahushua, man. Covet anything, like, inwardly, the lust of the world, like your own will, like, things other people have. Somebody's, like, somebody's wife, somebody's husband, somebody's whatever, like, so somebody's even, like, personality traits, or, like, care, like, you just want, like, that's why it says the word says nothing can stand before envy, or, like, envy shortens life, man. Because, like, I was talking about that yesterday with my brother. Actually, I'm glad we're talking about this today, because I had an actually situation yesterday, like, with I ain't gonna go deep into it, man, but it was a situation yesterday with some, anyway. But Genesis chapter 50, 35 verse 22, it says, and it came to pass when Israel dwelt in the land that Reuben lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. And now the sons of Jacob were 12. Yeah, exactly, man. So honestly, man. So that's it is what it is. So that cost him being the firstborn, man. That covetousness, man. Even though it was for Judah, but we're just going to the deeper point of how that lust and, like, how that covetousness and lust can can cause you being the firstborn, man. But also too, this is why in the letters and Paul's, like, what was it, church in Corinth, when they were doing all that stuff like that, he, like, that's why scriptures for our learning. It's like, yo, man, we shouldn't even do this, because Reuben was doing this. And even if you look and read between lines, that's what Ham did with Noah, honestly, man. Like, if you look in the law, it says, like, you shouldn't look at your father's skirt, means your father's, like, wife or concubine. So putting two together, I speak as a man. I'm led to believe that he did that with he did that with Noah's wife. But anyway, let's get this in Sirach real quick. That's why it says that as well, man. But yeah, man, because Ecclesiastes also known as Sirach chapter 9 verse Ecclesiastes also known as Sirach chapter 9 verse verse 5. It says, gaze not on a maid. Is that it? Yeah, handmaid. Yeah. It says, Ecclesiastes, also known as Sirach chapter 9 verse 5. It says, gaze not on a maid, that thou fall not by those things or that are precious in her. So yeah, that's what, like, Reuben did, man. He eventually lost the birthright of the firstborn. But even though it was always for Judah, man. But that's just is what it is, though, man. Like, Yeah, that being covetous, like and you go your own will, your own lust, your own desire, that can cost you being the firstborn, man. That's why Yahweh Shai be said, you know what? Let's get Mark 4. We gonna get, um, yeah, yeah, man. Let's grab Mark 4 real quick, cause he even gave us a game on this. Yeah, Mark 4. Yeah, yep. Mark 4:19. Here's the point. Yeah. Uh, um. Mark 4:19. And the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and lust, and of other things, and entering, and choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. Verse. Yeah. Sometimes too. Sometimes the situation is like, man. I was talking about this yesterday. Actually, my homie and my brother. Like, sometimes even the slightest actions or the slightest actions or the slightest things people say it gives you precursors to what they're going to do. Shoot, we see this in the word, but we see this in the word. Even in life, we see this. Even sometimes in different movies, TV shows, things of that nature. We see this that like, okay. Sometimes people give you little inklings of what they're going to do, like what they're going to be. Like, or what they're going to be or what they're going to do, man. Because honestly, or sometimes, somehow somebody's like indirectly talking about you, and like, even though it's kind of about you, like, then it comes like, actually manifests itself, like, okay, that was at it. Not because I'm not saying like subliminally, no, because I'm not saying that, but Yahushua here was in a sense, it's really because he already knew he's still like, what Judas was going to do. So indirectly, he's like, even like the living examples right in front of the face. But Judas didn't even know, but like Yahushua knew it, just like he knew, of course, what Peter was going to do. Even though I was written for Peter in Job, that was written for Peter to do what he's going to do anyway. But yeah, so just like I'll use an example, right? Like, remember when in the Lion King, right? Lion King, when the Simba says, "I want to be king, cause so I can do what I want." Pretty much Mufasa told him, "Listen, man, there's more. Listen, son, there's more like than being a king, honestly, than doing what you want. You had to have like honor, like respect." Love, responsibility, taking care of your own, like there's a lot of that comes with that, and pretty much, man. And sometimes people are a living example of what not to be, or sometimes like that king that like that Simba thought he wanted to be, man. That his living example was like Mufasa's brother, like Scar. That really was it. Like he was pretty much the opposite of what to be, and pretty much like the opposite that Mufasa was telling him about, and he was a living like example of that, man. It's like so sometimes people just that happens in life, man. They just like people give you precursors of things that they're going to do eventually. And eventually it's going to come out, just like eventually came out with Judas. Like Yahushua said, it was dark, eventually we come out in the light. Like things are eventually going to happen, just like they see in life in the real world. The real you is going to come out. The real it's eventually is going to come out. Like Jay said, and Jay-Z said in Takeover, man. It's only so long fake thugs can pretend, man. So honestly, man. So. Yeah, man, that's is what it is, and also too, that can be even for the bad, for the most part too, but also for the good too, as well. But that's another story for another day. We talked about it before with the Maya Angelou quote. But anyway, I'll get back to the point, man. But yeah, man, that's just is what it is, though, man. How like the firstborn, like how covetousness and lust, your own will, your own desire can cause you from being the firstborn, man. So it's good. It says, and these are which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word and receive it, but bring forth fruit, and some 30-fold and 60, and yeah. So he's going to those who are deeply rooted in the faith, like those that weren't shaking and moving, man. So like yeah, man. So hopefully this is edifying, man. But yeah, man, I was thinking about this because actually I'm glad we talked about this today. I talked about today rather than yesterday, man, because there was some situations. Actually, what me and my homie was talking about yesterday and today, and like what I talked to my actual brother, like yeah, it's actually perfectly finished. See, and all things are of the Lord's timing, man. Honestly, like the situation happened yesterday, man. Like that's how the Most High, how Shai is, man. Like there, man. That's what it says. Man's goings is really of the Lord, man. It's nothing about coincidence, man. So the situation happened yesterday. I mean, even my homie, he's not in the Word, but he believes in the Most High and Yahushua. But he's in the Word. But it's more of it's more it's still more like he believes in them, but this doesn't have the zeal. It's not according to the proper understanding. But hey, even still like that, if somebody's honorable, and that's why the scriptures say, "Forsake not an old friend." Let's just get that real quick, man. Don't even do that, man. Now it's not expedient to be around them all the time, especially those that's not in the word like that. Because but honestly though, That's why even the word even says this though. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 10. Forsake not an old friend, for a new one's not comparable to him, and the new friend is like new wine. When it's old, thou shalt drink it with pleasure. Yeah, man. So that's is what it is too, man. But hopefully this is edifying for you, brothers and sisters, man. Yeah, man. That beware that covetousness, that lust, our own will, that can cost us being like son and daughter of the Let's just grab this to Galatians real quick, because even this for the sisters too as well, man. Like honestly, let's go Galatians, because this goes back to Genesis. Shout out to brother Semi Firstborn for pointing this out, but yeah. Galatians chapter 3 verse 28. It says, neither bond nor Greek, neither Jew nor Greek, neither bond nor free, neither there is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Christ and Christ Yahushua or Mashiach Yahushua. Yeah, and that goes back to like he created them in the beginning, Genesis chapter 1, man. So yeah, man. So this is for all of us, honestly, man. But especially for like us, for brothers, man. Exactly, man. So. But this for really it's for all brothers and sisters, man. But seriously, man. But hopefully this is edifying, man. Much love. So peace.